Well, I literally came back just recently from the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is a huge country with enormous challenges. You may not know much about that situation, but I'm sure you are aware of many other trouble spots in the world. When we look at all these problems, it is easy to come to the conclusion that there is not much we can do about it. However, I believe that everybody can do something, and things will change for the better if we act in love. I believe the best way to change the world is by starting with our own heart. Only then can we try to help others to do the same. I have found that love is the best way to change any heart. Let me tell you what my wife Lenka and I and our small team are doing in Congo to show you what can be done even under difficult circumstances. Try to imagine, if you can, your fridge is empty, or you do not even have one. You're also without a job and money. In the rich nations, in such cases, you can apply for social help and for food and shelter receive help. Not so in the poor countries. So imagine no such help is available. You go out in the morning on an empty stomach, try to raise some money and bring home some food for your family that evening. Hundreds of millions of people live like that every day. 1 billion people on Earth live on less than $1 a day. That means 1 out of 7 people is hungry most of the time. On the other side, there is like 1%, the richest 1% on Earth has so much wealth that it's like the rest of the world combined. Every 3 seconds, someone dies because of extreme poverty, which is more than 10 million people every year. Now, big numbers like this are just numbers for some people. However, since my wife and I lived in Africa more than 10 years, we have experienced firsthand what some of these statistics mean. We have lived in 6 different countries there and decided to focus our help on Congo because it was the neediest country we have ever lived in. Congo has so many problems because of its many natural resources. Why is there so much trouble in the Middle East? Because of its oil, right? Congo has more than oil. It has oil, gold, diamonds, copper, tin, cobalt, uranium, and coltan, which is used in all our laptops and mobile phones. Just with the Congo River alone, they could create enough electricity to supply half, if not all of Africa. Yet they have no electricity in the countryside, and in the cities it can be cut off any time. About 80% of the 80 million Congolese are jobless. The biggest need is in the countryside, where they have no electricity, no running water, no proper roads, not enough schools, and hardly any jobs or money. In spite of all their riches in the ground, why is Congo one of the poorest countries in the world? One reason is its historical development. At the end of the 19th century, Congo became the private property of the Belgian King Leopold II. Under his rule, about half of the population, more than 10 million people, died. Many workers, including women and children, could get their hands or feet chopped off if they did not collect enough rubber. After King Leopold, the Belgian government controlled Congo by less barbaric methods, but by equally oppressive colonial rule, and continued to steal Congo's raw materials until formal independence in 1960. Shortly after independence, Mobutu ruled Congo by as a horrible dictator for more than 30 years, supported by Belgium and the US. In 1997, Laurent Kabila and his allies from Uganda and Rwanda chased out Mobutu with their army. When Laurent Kabila did not deliver the Congolese resources to his allies, it sparked a war between these countries and Congo. In 2003, this war stopped officially, but in reality, it continues in eastern Congo until today. These are some recent rebel activities there, which are going on all the time. In the last 20 years, about 9 million people died, and hardly anybody knows about it here, either as a direct consequence of fighting or due to disease and malnutrition in the aftermath of this war. This war is a raid on the Congo by foreign mining companies which use Rwanda and Uganda and their rebel armies to steal the resources in the east of the country. Congo receives little income from the official sales of raw materials, and this income goes only to the people at the top. By far the biggest amount of resources are taken out of the country through illegal mining and smuggling. Airplanes like this are landing in eastern Congo and fly out resources to Uganda and Rwanda. What are some of the possible solutions? Number one, stop this war and illegal exploitation. Number two, income of the country needs to be invested into the development of the country instead of going into the pockets of the elite. Number three, Congo needs proper education for the whole population and economic development so they can get their needs met, build political awareness and real democracy. So what did Lenka and I and our team do to help? In 2003, we entered Congo after the war moved to the east of the country. We imported a container with humanitarian aid and distributed that to needy people in Kinshasa. We also started a feeding scheme for orphans. Some people in Kinshasa are so poor that they abandon their babies on the street or in front of orphanages. Hundreds of babies are abandoned and thousands of children live on the streets in Kinshasa. In 2008, we adopted one such newborn baby whom we called Anissa. This is about 2 months after we adopted her, and here is a more recent photo of her. Since Anissa had the chance, she could develop her talents. She speaks English and Czech fluently and learns German with me. She likes skiing, ice skating, inline skating, athletics, dancing, singing, and she's learning to play the piano. She proves how much potential is in Africa if its children receive a chance to develop their talents. We are doing our best to raise Anissa in a loving environment so she can also learn to be loving and considerate. Personally, I believe these values, besides being taught at home, should have top priority in any school and university curriculum. In 2011, we experienced the appalling poverty in the countryside when we visited the village Mushapo. The village chiefs asked us to build a school as they did not have one. As difficult as life is out there, we realized that if we did not build that school, then who? We made bricks out of the ground right there and burned those bricks so we could make strong buildings. In order to reach Mushapo, we had to take old airplanes from Kinshasa to Chikapa, and from there we traveled by motorbike or by car 60 kilometers through the bush, which can take from 4 to 12 hours, depending on the rain and road condition. On this picture, you can see the final results after it took us almost 4 years. This is our school ground, the 3 buildings on the bottom, and on top is the health center we built for them. Since 2012, more than 2,000 children attended our school free of charge, which is unheard of in Congo, as normally everybody there must pay school fees, which is one reason why about 50% of Congolese children receive no schooling because their parents cannot afford it. In 2016, we started the same kind of fighting that is going on in eastern Congo started also in the Kasai provinces where our school is situated. The goal of this violence is always to drive away the local people so that the resources can be extracted easier. Thousands of people were brutally killed and 80 mass graves were found. More than 1 million people became refugees, or internally displaced people, and hundreds of schools were closed, including ours. The majority of our teachers and students had to flee with their families to Chicapa, where after many struggles they were able to start an afternoon school in an existing school building. I also found out just now that our school in Mushapo was recently reopened by the people who remained in the area. In 2017, we started a new project in Mabala, where we are planning to build a school for older children and give them extra training in agriculture so they can earn a living instead of being jobless after their final exams. Here you see Mushapo and Chicapa, the capital Kinshasa, and up there north is Mabala and next to Nyoki. I have a strong desire to help these children and spread this information through a book I'm writing and through the website of our German NGO Aktive Direkt Hilfe, in English, Active Direct Help. Sometimes we are asked, why do you help in Congo? And why do you like to help people in general? Why do you do it full-time as volunteers without a salary? This leads back to a special experience Lenka and I each had at separate occasions many years ago, when we experienced deep love in such a strong way that it completely turned our lives around. We realized that this kind of love was the solution for our personal problems and for the world. It was like finding a remedy for AIDS and cancer. Let me clarify what I mean when I talk about love. The Hollywood type of love is unrealistic. It's unnatural, and it usually lasts only a short amount of time. I'm talking about real love, which is active in helping someone else. Love is not about getting anything. It's all about giving. It gives something away, either your time or yourself or something materially. This kind of love is crucial. It is the key for changing the world. Without it, things will continue as they are today. The biggest obstacles we are fighting today are all due to a lack of love, like war, hunger, poverty, refugees, and the migration crisis are all a result of greed and selfishness. We shouldn't be surprised about so many refugees when in their own countries they cannot find enough to eat and are driven out or bombed out of their homes. We also don't need to be afraid of foreigners. I've been a foreigner for the majority of my life, living in 14 different countries on 4 continents. The rich nations are wasting 220 million tons of food every year, and the whole world is wasting $1.7 trillion on military expenses every year. With just a fraction of that money, and with love, we could fight poverty instead of fighting each other. Here are some more ideas of what love can do. Drug abuse, loneliness, depression, and suicide can be reduced if we spend time with people and show them some love. Giving, helping, and showing love to others create win-win situations. It helps the needy and the person who shows love. If you give something away or help somebody, love will come back to you. We all can share something with those who have less than we do. It doesn't hurt us, but it helps someone else. We need an attitude of love and act in love. Any family, company, organization, or government need to think about their team members, their co-workers, and their citizens. A good question to ask ourselves for any plans, decisions, or actions is this: is it loving or not? If we act in love, we will not steal, lie, or cheat. We will not be lazy, contentious, or greedy. Instead, we will help others and lift each other up. Another form of love is to confront evil, to speak out against it, and to do something to change it. How can we receive more of this kind of love? The most important things in life cannot be seen, touched, manufactured, sold, or bought. Things like friendship, happiness, peace, faith, hope, and love. Besides the physical, there is a spiritual dimension involved. The life-changing experience Lenka and I had was an overfilling of supernatural love, which we believe comes from God. It has nothing to do with religion. It is a personal relationship between God and us. We humans are naturally selfish, and our human love can only go so far. But this kind of love is supernatural and can go further. Everybody can receive this love, no matter what color, creed, social status, or education. Everybody can do something, you too. For example, you can speak up about injustice in the world and try to win people to do something about it. Volunteer in an existing NGO or start your own with some friends. Find a needy situation and start a project or help with or support an existing project. Mother Teresa was saying, if you cannot feed 100 people, then feed just one. She also said, we cannot do great things on this earth. We can only do small things with great love. We don't have to do what she has done. It is also not necessary to go to Congo to change the world. If we show love, consideration, and kindness to the people around us, it will change our part of the world. Let's face it, the world has enough food, land, and money for everybody. What we are lacking is enough love to share them. So let's work together in love, even with people who are different. Let's help the poor and needy in any way we can. Let's change the world with love.